Hello everyone, this is just a quick video. Today I'm going to be installing this front lip onto my Mazda. It's an R package front lip, and it's probably one of the most common lips available. It's pretty subtle really when it's on, but it just adds a little bit of extra presence to this front bumper, and also matches it to the black weather strip along the side as well, so that it kind of continues all around the front of the car. There is a back one as well. I'm not going to bother with that because I don't particularly like the look of it, but I'm going to put the front one on today. So this particular lip is a replica which I bought from Jap Style, and it's basically just a pattern part for the original R package lip. Interestingly enough, originally Mazda were going to fit these to all MX5s, which is why this strip along the side was actually painted black, so that it would be continued on the front bumper. But at the last minute they pulled it because, well, basically just as a way to save money, because at the time that the Mazda was coming out, we were just going into a recessional period, and cost saving was key. But anyway, so I consider it to be pretty much, it should be original on all Mazdas. So even though I'm trying to keep my car fairly stock, I think this is a fair enhancement. So basically what I'm going to be doing is lining this up in the middle. It's quite easy to do because there's a seam down the middle here, and then I'm going to screw up into the bumper using the supplied bolts which are here. Now my bumper has holes pre-drilled into it, as you can see all the way along there, but apparently some bumpers don't. So if your bumper doesn't, then what you're going to have to do is manually line it up, and you can use this logo here as your midpoint, and then basically line it up with the seam that you can see here on the inside of the lip. Tape it in place using some detailing tape, and then drill up into the bumper through these holes in the R package lip. What you want to do is start in the middle and work outwards, and that will basically ensure that you've got it completely straight in the middle, and you won't end up with a skew bumper. So luckily I can just miss that step, and I can basically just screw straight into these holes in my bumper, and hopefully it should all be in the correct place. So the holes on this pattern part seem to be a little bit too small, so these bolts don't go through very easily. You can either drill them out a bit to make them wider, or in my case I'm just going to use an electric screwdriver just to run them through, because I would actually rather they were a little bit tight so that it holds. Okay, so I've now got the lip secured with about 4 bolts in the middle. So you can see it's already starting to look quite cool. So now basically I've got to do the outer ones. By the way, for those of you who have installed one of these before, you might have noticed that I haven't included the plastic bit that goes over the top here. The reason being that for some reason the one that I got wasn't very well molded, and the plastic bits didn't sit very well on top of these lower parts. And looking at it, I think it'll kind of be pointless really, because once the bumper's in place you won't see the plastic bit anyway, and all it does is just funnel air towards the front brakes, which it will still do to an extent, and I don't think I'm really going to be in a situation where it's going to cause a problem, so I'm just going to leave them off for reasons of simplicity. Okay, so here we have our bumper now mounted in the center. I've loosely put in all the bolts that go in the middle there. As you can see, my bumper is actually broken. I've just noticed the tabs along here are all broken, and this one is failing fast, which is not good. But there's not really much I can do about it, and I mean, the bumper is still pretty solid, so I don't think it really matters a huge amount. It just might make the car a little bit more rattly. Okay, so now that we've got the center ones on, before we put the side bits on, we have to undo this bolt here, which basically holds the bumper firm against the bodywork, because it's got this tag which goes along here. If you screw in this one here first, then it makes it very difficult to get this nut out. So it's easier to do this first and then go back to the screw again afterwards. As you can see, I made the mistake of trying to screw it in first. So don't make the same mistake as Rob. Okay, so what you're going to find once you've got this nut off is that it's actually too short to put back on with the bumper. So they have helpfully supplied enough bolts here that you can replace the short one with a longer one. They do have the same thread, so it should be just a case of substituting one for the other. I'm going to put this washer back on though, just for JDM's sake. Screwing this in is a little bit of a fiddle, but you can get it done. You just got to basically put the socket on first and then use the socket to push the bolt up so that it locates properly in this captive nut here, and then basically just tighten it up. Right, now that this bolt is in place here, the one next to the vent here is almost impossible to do up from the bottom because the lower part of the lip just gets right in the way. So instead what I'm going to do is go through the top and try and just hold the nut in place while I bolt it in from above. Okay, well, it turns out that on my car this hole here is located completely in the wrong place. As you can see, the screw is basically there and the hole is quite far over this way. So I think, based on how this is feeling, I might just fucking leave that out, quite frankly, because once these are all screwed in, and it's screwed in properly on the other side, this is actually pretty solid, to be honest. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. What I could do is drill through from the top and make a new hole, but it would be right next to the old hole, and it wouldn't be very strong, so I'm just going to fucking leave it. Honestly, I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference. If it's really bothering me and it's rattling or something, then I will change it, but for now I'm just going to leave it as is. Well, as you can see, it's pretty much dark now. I've been battling with this stupid thing for God knows how long. I've only just managed to get this side screwed in, but now there's this stupid kind of, I don't know, like bend in it for some reason, which doesn't do that on the other side, so I don't know what is going on here, why it's doing that. Highly annoying, and I don't know how the hell to sort that, so unfortunately I'm just going to have to leave it for now and come back to it and try and figure out how to solve that. Okay, so I went away and I gave it some thought and calmed down a bit, and I managed to sort out the kink in the end. And the way I did it was I bought myself a heat gun. It's quite a useful thing to have anyway. And basically what I did is I propped up the bottom of this with a block of wood, got the heat gun on it, got it nice and hot, and it went all soft. And when I let it cool down again, the kink was gone. It's not 100% perfect. If you get right in there, you can see there is a bit of waviness there still, and that is because of how the wood was placed. So where the wood was, it's kind of pushed up a little bit further than on either side, but really you can't see it at all unless you get up really close. I guess the moral of the story is, if you want it to work perfectly and not have any issues, you should go for a genuine Mazda part. But quite honestly, that cost half of what a Mazda part costs, and all it took was a little bit of effort, a little bit of creative thinking, and now it's perfect. So that's that, job done.